I was trying anything and anything anyone threw at me. It was a particular difficult time. I needed rebooting. I needed to wake the up in some areas. And
he may be one of Hollywood's biggest heartthrobs, but not everyone is swooning over Brad Pitt. Behind the charm, good looks, and blockbuster success, Pitt has made his fair share of enemies in the industry. From co-stars who clashed with his on-set behavior to rivals who couldn't stand his fame, the list of celebrities who just hate Brad Pitt may shock you. Donald Trump. It's fair to say that Donald Trump did not find the 2020 Academy Awards particularly entertaining or flattering. The then President of the United States made his displeasure known on multiple fronts, beginning with his sharp critique of the Academy's decision to award Parasite the Best Picture Oscar. Speaking to Today, Trump framed the win as almost a geopolitical affront, saying, "We got enough problems with South Korea with trade. On top of it, they give them the best movie of the year? Was it good? I don't know." His dismissive tone implied not only a lack of interest in the film itself, but also a deeper unease with the idea of an American cultural institution elevating a foreign production to its highest honor. Trump's ire extended beyond Parasite to the subtle political commentary delivered by Brad Pitt during his acceptance speech for Best Supporting Actor for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Pitt, ever the wry observer, quipped, "They told me I have only 45 seconds up here, which is 45 seconds more than the Senate gave John Bolton this week. I'm thinking maybe Quentin Tarantino does a movie about it. In the end, the adults do the right thing." The remark was an unmistakable jab at the Senate's decision to block National Security Advisor John Bolton from testifying during Trump's impeachment trial, highlighting the intersection of Hollywood spectacle and real-world politics. Unsurprisingly, Trump did not take the subtle shade lying down. Speaking at a rally in Colorado shortly after the Oscars, he dismissed Pitt personally, saying, "And then you have Brad Pitt. I was never a big fan of his." He got up, said a little wise guy thing. He's a little wise guy. In typical fashion, the president transformed a cultural moment into a personal critique, demonstrating his sensitivity to public commentary and his willingness to retaliate verbally, even against Hollywood's brightest stars. This episode underscored the tense, often adversarial dynamic between Trump and the entertainment industry, where political satire and celebrity commentary frequently collided. Eric Trump, like father, like son. While Donald Trump had already expressed his irritation at Brad Pitt's pointed reference to the impeachment trial during the 2020 Academy Awards, it was Eric Trump who acted with even swifter indignation. That very night, as the Oscars unfolded, Eric took to Instagram to voice his disapproval, turning his criticism into a broader cultural rebuke. Captioning a photo of Pitt accepting his Best Supporting Actor award for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Eric wrote, "Oscars ratings fall 25% to all-time low, probably because Americans don't like to be preached to by smug elitists. The elegance has been lost, and America has tuned these people out of their homes." In one brief post, the younger Trump combined political commentary, cultural critique, and a defense of his father, framing Pitt and the Hollywood elite as out of touch with ordinary Americans. Pitt, for his part, had made no secret of his feelings about the Senate's decision to block John Bolton from testifying. On stage, he quipped about having 45 seconds more than the Senate gave John Bolton this week, a sly reference to the impeachment trial, and he continued his critique off-stage. Speaking with journalists backstage, as reported by The Independent, Pitt lamented the state of affairs, saying, "When gamesmanship trumps the right thing, it's a sad thing, and I don't think we should let it slide, and I'm very serious about that." His words underscored a deeper frustration with political maneuvering overriding ethical responsibility, a sentiment that clearly struck a nerve with both Donald and Eric Trump. Mike Tyson. Brad Pitt narrowly avoided what could have been a very messy situation in the late 1980s when he was caught in a compromising encounter with Robin Givens, the estranged wife of heavyweight boxing legend Mike Tyson. Speaking on In Depth with Graham Benzinger, Tyson recounted the incident with his trademark bluntness, revealing how he discovered the then unknown actor in Givens's bedroom. "I was going to my lawyer's office to divorce her that day, but I wanted to sneak in a quickie. Every day I would go to her house to have sex with her. This particular day, someone beat me to the punch. I guess Brad got there earlier than I did. You should have seen his face when he saw me," Tyson said, clearly recalling the shock and tension of that moment. Tyson elaborated on the encounter in a separate interview with Sway Calloway for Sirius XM's Shade 45 via Elad Bible, noting that Pitt did not yet have the polished, magnetic persona that would later make him a global superstar. "He looked like he must have been a little high, because I know about high. He wasn't the Brad now with the reputation he's upholding. He was like a beach bum, a little nerdy," Tyson said. Despite his imposing size and fearsome reputation in the ring, Tyson admitted he hesitated to retaliate physically. "I was scared too because this was pre-Matrix. That Brazilian karate sucked, trying to run but coming back. I thought I better back up from that little white motherfucker." Bethany Frankel Brad Pitt, often hailed as one of Hollywood's most enduring heartthrobs, seems to defy the aging process with his signature charm and rugged good looks. Most would agree he's aging like a fine wine, only growing more distinguished with each passing year. Not everyone shares that glowing assessment, however. Bethany Frankel, the outspoken Real Housewives of New York City star, recently shared her unvarnished opinion on Pitt's skin, and it wasn't exactly complimentary. During an episode of her Just Be with Bethany Frankel podcast, humorously titled It's the Pitts, Frankel weighed in on the actor's foray into skincare with his line, Le Domaine, as well as fellow star Jared Leto's 29 Palms, though she noted he has since cut ties with Leto. Frankel didn't hold back, asserting that Pitt and Leto might be better off sticking to their day jobs. All of a sudden, all these men are so fascinated with skincare. Jared Leto is going to do a skincare routine? Is he going to put one of those, pink headbands on, push his long hair back, and do a GRWM, get ready with me with Brad Pitt? She asked, incredulous. Take a break with the skincare for men. It's a reach. It's the weirdest time to come into a delineation in something that is not about men or women. Her critique, though colorful, overlooked a key detail. Both Pitt and Leto's skincare lines are gender-neutral, designed to appeal across the spectrum rather than targeting men specifically. Yet Frankel's comments highlight the cultural tension that still exists when celebrities, especially male icons, branch into beauty and self-care. While Pitt's Le Domaine may have been celebrated in industry circles for its premium approach, Frankel's tongue-in-cheek skepticism underscores how even global stars aren't immune to public scrutiny, proving that fame and good looks don't always shield one from a little shade. Ruben Diaz. It came as little surprise when Ruben Diaz, the New York State senator known for his outspoken opposition to same-sex marriage, publicly condemned couples who lived together without first formalizing their relationship in matrimony. Yet even Diaz may have been taken aback by the sheer fame of some of the couples his remarks would implicate. Most notably, Hollywood's golden pair, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Writing in a Spanish-language blog post for the Ramon Anibal TV show's website, later translated by The Village Voice, Diaz responded to a daily news survey highlighting America's lowest-ever marriage rates. He wrote, "I, for my part, don't want to offend anyone, but the Bible, the Word of God, calls it fornication to live as husband and wife without having made this union a wedding officially blessed by God and man." In naming names, Diaz unwittingly stirred controversy, implicitly calling out several high-profile New York area couples who had chosen cohabitation over traditional nuptials. Among those likely offended were Governor Andrew Cuomo and Sandra Lee, Mayor Michael Bloomberg and Diana Taylor, and, of course, Pitt and Jolie, whom Diaz described as one of the most famous couples in the world. At the time, Pitt and Jolie were already icons of celebrity romance, their lives under constant media scrutiny, and Diaz's moralizing statement added a political and religious dimension to the tabloid fascination surrounding them. Despite the senator's admonishment, Pitt and Jolie eventually tied the knot 3 years later, quietly reaffirming their bond in a private ceremony. Yet even that milestone did little to placate Diaz, who would no doubt have disapproved further when the couple finalized their divorce in 2016. In the end, the saga underscored how celebrity relationships can become lightning rods for public debate, illustrating the collision of Hollywood lifestyles, religious convictions, and societal expectations in ways that keep both tabloids and politicians engaged. Kirsten Dunst. Back in 1994, the idea of sharing a kiss with Hollywood's most coveted heartthrob, Brad Pitt, might have seemed like a dream come true for millions of fans. But for Kirsten Dunst, that very scenario on the set of Interview with the Vampire was anything but glamorous. It was a source of genuine discomfort. The reason becomes strikingly clear once you consider the staggering age difference. Pitt was 31, portraying the conflicted vampire Louis de Pointe du Lac, while Dunst, cast as the eternally youthful Claudia, was only 11 years old, a full 2 decades younger. Notably, the on-screen kiss was Dunst's first ever, adding a layer of awkwardness and pressure to the experience. Reflecting on the moment years later in an interview with Bullet magazine, Dunst did not mince words about her unease. She recalled, "I remember Brad would watch lots of real-world episodes. He had this long hair. He was just a hippie-ish cool dude. Everyone at the time was like, 'You're so lucky you kissed Brad Pitt.' But I thought it was disgusting. I didn't kiss anyone else until I was 16, I think. I was a late bloomer." Her candidness highlights the stark contrast between public perception, where such an encounter might seem enviable, and her personal reality, which was far more complicated and emotionally fraught. The pressures of growing up under Hollywood's spotlight weighed heavily on Dunst. She later battled depression, reflecting on a childhood spent in a very people-pleasing environment, and ultimately sought treatment in rehab to navigate the emotional toll of working from such a young age. Her experience on Interview with the Vampire thus stands as a vivid example of how early fame, adult-themed material, and industry expectations can collide, leaving lasting psychological impact even amidst professional success. Jennifer Aniston. Although Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston now appear to share a friendly rapport, their separation was far from amicable. The end of their marriage left deep emotional scars, particularly for Aniston, who was blindsided when Pitt left her to pursue a relationship with his Mr. and Mrs. Smith co-star, Angelina Jolie. What made the heartbreak even more intense was the sheer public visibility of Pitt and Jolie's romance. In 2006, Vanity Fair asked Aniston about the high-profile 60-page W magazine feature in which Pitt and Jolie openly declared their love for each other. For anyone who had been left at the altar of celebrity intrigue, seeing such an intimate declaration splashed across glossy pages was nothing short of jarring. Aniston's response was a mixture of resilience and restrained frustration. She explained, "You joke and say, 'What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.'" But beneath the veneer of humor, she made it clear that the situation had tested her patience and composure. She acknowledged that Pitt's choices were his own, yet also emphasized the insensitivity of their timing. "You want to shake the s-check out of him and say, 'Your timing sucks.' He's made some choices that have been tremendously insensitive. He makes his choices. He can do whatever. We're divorced, and you can see why," she added, revealing just how personal and hurtful the public spectacle of his new relationship felt. Rafael Koreah. In 2015, Brad Pitt made headlines by acquiring the film rights to The Law of the Jungle, a book by Paul Barrett that chronicled the environmental and legal battles surrounding Chevron's $9 billion fine for polluting the Ecuadorian rainforest. The story, which exposes the devastating impact of corporate negligence on indigenous communities and the rainforest ecosystem, seemed like a natural fit for a socially conscious Hollywood adaptation. Yet the announcement immediately drew sharp criticism from unexpected quarters, most notably Ecuador's then-president, Rafael Koreah, who made it clear he hoped the project would never see the light of day. Koreah addressed the issue on his regular Saturday television program, directly challenging Pitt and questioning the book's credibility. He issued a pointed invitation to the actor to visit Ecuador and witnessed the situation firsthand, suggesting that Barrett's reporting was biased, particularly in his criticisms of American lawyer Stephen Donziger, who had tirelessly represented the Ecuadorian plaintiffs. "We invite Brad Pitt to dip his hand in the contaminated soil," Koreah said via Telesur. "We'll see if he continues with this movie project, which would be the biggest act of dishonesty." The president went further, warning that Pitt might be unwittingly complicit in spreading a narrative that distorted the reality on the ground. Surely Brad Pitt does not know what he is getting involved with in the complicity he is falling victim to. Koreah's public admonition, combined with the complex legal and political issues at stake, appears to have had a chilling effect. Nearly a decade later, there is still no sign of a film adaptation, suggesting that the environmental saga may remain confined to the pages of Barrett's book rather than the silver screen. The episode serves as a stark reminder of how celebrity ambition, activism, and international politics can collide, sometimes halting projects before they even begin. Harrison Ford. In 1997, Hollywood witnessed a rare pairing of stars from different eras when Harrison Ford and Brad Pitt joined forces for The Devil's Own, a tense thriller about an IRA terrorist infiltrating an Irish-American family. The film was a commercial success, grossing over $140 million worldwide, but behind the scenes, the production was anything but smooth. Ford later described the shoot as tough via The Independent, while Pitt was even more scathing, labeling it the most irresponsible bit of filmmaking, if you can even call it that I've ever seen. The tension between the two actors became a defining feature of the production, with their disagreements centering primarily on the script and how their characters should be portrayed. Decades later, Ford reflected on the conflict in an interview with Esquire, offering a candid insight into the clash of visions. "Brad had this complicated character, and I wanted a complication on my side so that it wasn't just a good and evil battle," he explained. In particular, Ford devised a scenario involving a bad shooting moment to add moral ambiguity to his character, but this creative choice sparked disagreement. Each of us had different ideas about it. I wanted to stay with my point of view, or I was imposing my point of view, and it's fair to say that's what Brad felt. It was complicated, he admitted, acknowledging how their strong personalities and differing artistic instincts collided. The result was a production marked by professional friction, with both actors striving to leave their mark on the story. While audiences may have seen only a taut political thriller, those behind the camera witnessed a delicate battle of creative wills, one that highlighted the challenges of collaboration when two powerhouse talents insist on shaping a narrative in their own image. The legacy of The Devil's Own thus includes not only its box office success, but also the behind-the-scenes drama that became almost as legendary as the film itself. Courtney Love. Courtney Love has never been shy about speaking her mind, and her candidness was on full display during an appearance on Marc Maron's WTF podcast. When the conversation turned to Fight Club and its unforgettable characters, Love dropped a bombshell. She had originally been lined up to play Marla Singer, the nihilistic foil to Edward Norton's narrator, and Brad Pitt's anarchic Tyler Durden. That role, of course, ultimately went to Helena Bonham Carter, but according to Love, her casting was derailed by a personal clash with Pitt himself. The dispute, she explained, stemmed from Pitt's long-standing interest in developing a Kurt Cobain biopic. Pitt had approached Love about playing the late Nirvana frontman, but she was far from convinced that he was the right person to embody Cobain's troubled genius. Love recalled confronting him directly, asking, "Who the fuck do you think you are?" She elaborated that while she respected his taste for socially conscious projects, she didn't trust him to truly understand Cobain's essence. "If you don't get me, you kind of don't get Kurt, and I don't feel like you do, Brad," she told him bluntly. That moment of fiery honesty may have cost her Fight Club. Love admitted that speaking up so openly at the time was a mistake, and now believes she should have waited until after filming Wrapped to air her grievances. Still, her comments underline how protective she remains over Cobain's legacy, and how her unfiltered personality has both defined her career and, at times, closed doors in Hollywood. Angelina Jolie. If ever there was a Hollywood cautionary tale about marriage, it would be the story of Brangelina. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie first sparked headlines when their chemistry lit up the screen in the 2005 action hit, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. What began as a whirlwind romance quickly cemented them as the industry's ultimate power couple. Two global superstars raising a large family while balancing philanthropy, activism, and blockbuster careers. By the time they finally tied the knot in 2014, after nearly a decade together, fans believed they were witnessing the ultimate fairy tale ending. But the fairy tale unraveled quickly. Just 2 years into their marriage, Jolie shocked the world by filing for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. The separation was anything but amicable. In 2016, troubling reports emerged of an altercation between Pitt, Jolie, and their son Maddox aboard a private jet, sparking an anonymous child abuse allegation that placed Pitt under intense public scrutiny. Although no charges were filed, the incident cast a long shadow over their split. The divorce proceedings only grew more bitter with time. Jolie alleged that Pitt had not provided adequate financial support for their children, while Pitt later filed a lawsuit against her for selling her stake in their French vineyard, Chateau Miraval, to a Luxembourg-based company without his approval. Jolie herself has remained relatively measured in public, though her comments have hinted at deeper discord. In a 2020 Vogue interview, she explained that she filed for divorce for the well-being of their 6 children, stressing, "It was the right decision. I continue to focus on their healing." Speaking to Harper's Bazaar, she also confessed to longing for a life abroad, but acknowledged she was restricted. "I would love to live abroad and will do so as soon as my children are 18. Right now, I'm having to base where their father chooses to live." Her words underline how, even years later, the fallout from Brangelina's breakup continues to shape her life. Justin Theroux. The ongoing soap opera surrounding Brad Pitt and his ex-wife Jennifer Aniston took an unexpected and highly public twist in 2016, courtesy of Aniston's then-husband, Justin Theroux. Known for his role on The Leftovers, Theroux ignited a social media frenzy when he shared a provocative piece of artwork by graffiti artist Nick Flat, ostensibly inspired by the political climate leading up to the presidential election. At first glance, the design read like a broad-stroke political manifesto, bold, expletive-laden statements such as F racism, F imperialism, and F war jumped off the screen, reflecting the artist's frustration with the state of the world. But it was the seemingly personal jab that truly captured attention. The artwork also contained the phrase, F Brad Pitt. For fans of Hollywood gossip, the timing and context were explosive. Pitt had famously left Aniston over a decade earlier to begin a relationship with Angelina Jolie, a narrative that still captivated tabloids and social feeds alike. While many immediately assumed Theroux was weighing in on the decades-old triangle, the actor insisted he was not directing the sentiment at any individual. In his caption, Theroux addressed the potential speculation with dry humor, writing, "And no, this post is not shading anyone because I'm not 11 years old." Despite his disclaimers, the majority of followers were unconvinced, interpreting the artwork as a sly, albeit indirect, dig at Pitt. Responses flooded in, ranging from shocked disbelief to outright amusement, with one fan summing it up perfectly. LMFAO, savage. In typical social media fashion, a piece of politically charged art had morphed into a viral moment that reignited old Hollywood drama, blending celebrity rivalry, internet culture, and political expression into a perfect storm of online chatter. Tom Cruise. Although Tom Cruise has never publicly commented on his relationship with Brad Pitt, Pitt himself has been remarkably candid about the tension that arose between them. Their uneasy dynamic first became apparent during the 1994 filming of Interview with the Vampire, an adaptation of Anne Rice's Gothic classic. Speaking to Express, Pitt admitted that the experience left him feeling distinctly miserable. "He bugged me. There came a point during filming when I started really resenting him. He's North Pole, I'm South. He's always coming at you with a handshake, whereas I may bump into you," Pitt explained, highlighting the stark contrast between Cruise's overly polished high-energy persona and his own more relaxed, understated approach. The friction, Pitt noted, went beyond mere personality clashes. "There was this underlying competition that got in the way of any real conversation," he said, pointing to Cruise's apparent need to assert dominance on set, a trait that left little room for collaboration or camaraderie. Tabloids later amplified the perceived feud, reporting that Pitt had also criticized Cruise's 2008 film Valkyrie, further fueling speculation about lingering animosity. The tension reportedly extended into their personal lives as well. Cruise was said to have been upset when Angelina Jolie, Pitt's then-partner, took the lead in the 2010 action thriller Salt, replacing him in what some saw as a symbolic snub. Mark Forster. To say that World War Z had a rocky birth would be a massive understatement. The 2013 zombie blockbuster, starring Brad Pitt as the heroic former UN investigator Jerry Lane, faced a production plagued by rewrites, reshoots, and behind-the-scenes tension so severe that the lead actor and director reportedly stopped speaking to one another entirely. Ironically, Pitt had played a crucial role in securing Mark Forster as director. Paramount Pictures had initially hesitated to entrust the enormous budget to Forster, known for Quantum of Solace, a James Bond installment that had similarly suffered from production headaches. Yet the decision to vouch for Forster quickly backfired. According to Vulture, the relationship between actor and director deteriorated to the point where Forster had to relay any notes or instructions to Pitt through an intermediary. Neither party has publicly detailed the exact source of their friction, but industry insiders speculate that constant script changes, scheduling conflicts, and the logistical nightmares of filming across multiple international locations contributed heavily to the strain. What should have been a collaborative process turned into a tense, almost adversarial dynamic, with communication reduced to third-party intermediaries. The saga didn't end with the first film. Plans for a sequel, now canceled, saw other directors, including J.A. Bayona and David Fincher, stepping in, further underscoring the challenges associated with the franchise and lending credence to rumors of Pitt and Forster's strained rapport. The World War Z production serves as a cautionary tale about how even A-list talent and promising directors can clash under the pressure of big-budget filmmaking, leaving a trail of frustration and unspoken conflict in their wake. What do you think about celebrities who don't like Brad Pitt? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this, and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.